Cancer, it's Gregory Scott here to do your astrology for July 2015. I'm not going to do any tarot cards. I'm only going to look at your astrology. I'm going to have a really in-depth look. I'm going to see what the planets are doing, how they interact, what aspects they make with each other, and how that impacts you in July. So, I'm really glad you've joined me today. It's a real pleasure to be able to do this for you. And the first thing that happens for you in July is that you've got a T-square in your chart. And a T-square is an area or a formation in your chart which really sets up a problem, a challenge, but that also has a solution to it. Mars and the Sun in Cancer in your first house, and they oppose Pluto and the Moon in your seventh house. So there's a real dichotomy between what it is you feel is right, what you think is correct and what you want to do, and what you have to do in the real world, either your job or what people expect of you. The solution to that problem is to not burn any bridges. So don't be ultra aggressive about what you think is right and wrong, and don't kind of say you're wrong and I don't care if this relationship or this job works out. I just want to be true to myself. Continue to hold on to your beliefs, but don't really get militant about it. And I wouldn't suggest that it's a good time for you to make any changes in your job right now. I think it's good to continue to create harmony and to build bridges in your life, because I think it'll lead to something bigger and better that actually works for you in a more compatible way further down the road. Your ascendant is square to your midheaven, and a square is when two angles or planets are 90 degrees apart. The ascendant is what you really like without thinking about it, and your midheaven is what you do for work. Now, both of those are ruled by Mercury at this time. Your ascendant is in Virgo, which makes you very discerning and really clear about what you think is right and wrong. And your midheaven is in Gemini, in the 12th. And that's about how can I help other people. So you really have very strong opinions about what you believe to be truthful and right and correct and helpful. And what you do for work really comes under scrutiny, and you really want to communicate and do something that's of service to other people. If you're doing something that's harmful to other people for your job, you're going to find that quite difficult to deal with. Don't beat yourself up about it, but just realize that that's not very compatible to the way you are now, and look at changing that in future. Mercury sextiles Uranus from the 13th of June until the 4th of July. So these 4 days are going to be days when you completely have a unique and unconventional and different idea about what it is you should be doing for work. I really feel that something really shifts for you, Cancer, that you have strong ideas, strong beliefs about what you should be doing, and I think you go your own way. Now, if you have the luxury of doing that, that's great. If you don't, then you need to kind of bite your tongue a little bit and make sure that you don't burn your bridges. Again, I mean, I recommend that you are true to your beliefs. That you know, if you're working for a company that you think is morally reprehensible and you think this is no longer aligned with my purpose, I'm going to do my own thing here and quit, that's great. But if you have 7 children and you're a single parent and you have to have the income to feed those 7 children, then you may not have the luxury to be that strident about your own beliefs and values. So just weigh things up a little bit, okay? But that tendency to want to throw everything up in the air and to say this is not right is really going to be powerfully there for you. And I think if you have the luxury of being able to honor it, then please do honor it. The full moon also occurs on the 2nd of July, and this full moon is in Capricorn in the 7th. So it does give you a new idea about working. Even if you have to stay in your current career, you will get new ideas about what it is you can do, and you can set that up for future so that you can transition out of something that no longer serves you and you can transition into something much better. Saturn squares Venus from the 3rd of July until the 15th of August. And this is interesting because during this time, you will find, or you will have an idea that you discover what it is you love to do in your working life, and you will be able to create new structure, and you will almost be able to treat it like your baby that you can then nurture and help and grow, and you can transition into that as your new career. So there's real scope for you, Cancer, to become self-employed this month, especially in these first 3 days. There's a lot going on up here. I don't like this. I've discovered that I love to do this. I can actually do this for myself. So really tap into that and see what it is you can do. I think being self-employed is great. You can be, you can do what it is you genuinely care about. You can be self-motivated. You don't have a manager kind of looking over your shoulder and saying, are you doing your job? Because you're self-motivated. You know, you don't have to listen to the opinions of other people, and you can be true to yourself. So if that's something you're interested in, go for it. It's a great time to do that. And that connection between Saturn and Venus is there until the 15th of August. So you've got a lot of time to build this. The Sun trines Neptune between the 24th of June until the 9th of July. And Neptune is the unmanifest, it's the dream planet. It's what you aspire to. And when that connects with your Sun in a harmonious way like it does now, it's almost like you draw in divine inspiration, divine knowledge that then infuses your identity and that drives you forward into becoming more like yourself. It's a process of becoming more you. So you become more honest with yourself, the denial drops away, the justifications drop away, you see yourself for what you really are, you get practical and productive about where you want to get to, who you want to be, and you move forward with that in a really productive, constructive way. Mercury goes into Cancer on the 9th of July. And Mercury is the communication planet, and it goes into your sign. And you've got a lot of stuff in your sign around this time of the month. You've got Mercury, you've got the midheaven, you've got Mars, and the Sun all in your sign of Cancer, in your first house. So you feel very, very sure of yourself. You feel like what you're communicating is right. You feel very strongly about that. But the constant push and pull that you've got, Cancer, this month is that you want to tell other people how wrong they are. And people seem to be so stupid for you on the 9th of July. People just don't get it. And you really just want to tell them, wake up. See it for what it is. But the problem with that is you have to continue to not burn your bridges. Unless you have the luxury of being able to do so. You have to really weigh that up. The example that comes to mind here is Salvador Dali, the artist. He went to art school and he had really unique ideas which are evidenced in his pictures. And the art school said, you can't draw like this, you have to draw this way, you have to let go of those ideas and you have to do it our way. He said, you guys don't know what you're talking about, I'm leaving. And he became famous in his own right. That is a really risky strategy. 5% of people are going to choose that path. Most of them will say, okay, you're the expert, I'm going to defer to your higher wisdom, I'm going to defer to your knowledge and do it your way. And that's the kind of conflict that you've got, Cancer, because you want to do things your way, but again, you have to weigh it up whether you want to go for it. I suggest you do, because I think being unique and being true to yourself is always the best policy, but again, not everyone is in that position where you can just say, hey boss, screw you, I'm doing it my way. It doesn't always work like that in the real world. Okay, Mercury, I've mentioned that. Yes, good. There's another T-square that happens on the 11th of July, and that's between the Moon in Taurus in your 11th, Saturn in Scorpio in your 5th, and then Jupiter and Venus in Leo in your 2nd. Your hopes and dreams may not be realized at the moment, and you feel stifled. The way to unstifle yourself is to go with what you love. And listen, Cancer, that's a repetition of what I've already said. Your chart wouldn't align itself this way just to torture you, okay? There's a necessity for this. And what this is saying is, even if you do have responsibilities, you can tweak your life to make it work for you a little bit better this month. You can, if things are just painful, you know, if you're doing a job that you hate, you can make changes to get that to be more viable for you. You can either do a new position in terms of your existing job, and what the chart is saying, there is opportunity to find something that you love. But please just own that and say, I'm not happy. I'm going to make some changes, because that's the first step to actually achieving that. Mars conjuncts the Sun, and it's done that for the whole of June, and it finishes that conjunction on the 12th of July. Mars is the warrior planet, it's the soldier, it's what I want, what I desire. And that's what's making you so forceful at the moment. It ends on the 12th and you start to relax a little bit and you start to take your foot off the gas pedal so much. The other thing that's been in conjunction is Pluto has been in opposition with the Sun since the 27th of June through until the 14th of July. And when that ends, it's also that dichotomy between what am I really like and what am I doing for work, that stops being such a split, and it stops kind of torturing you so much, and things quieten down a little bit. So if you do want to make these changes, use that difficult period at the beginning of July to change things, because that's what's actually going to give you the motivation to leave a job. You know, if you have a job that's secure and comfortable, you're going to have to get really uncomfortable to actually leave that job. Because if you've got dental, and if you've got health benefits, and if you've got shares in that company, you're going to have to get really fed up to actually make the move to leave. And I think the beginning of July is when you're most fed up. Venus conjuncts Jupiter from the 17th of June until the 13th of August, so pretty much for 2 months. And this is the lucky planet of good fortune and the goddess of love coming together and saying that if you become the star, if you put yourself in the spotlight, you can make a lot more money than you have in the past. The new moon occurs on the 16th. The new moon is a time of planting new seeds. So regardless of what I've said so far, the 16th is a really good day to decide what you're going to do in future and what you want to achieve, and how you can realize yourself. That's an ongoing process. You know, we all have an identity that we feel within ourselves, but we all have kind of a persona that we bring across to the world. You know, and teachers have this very strongly. You know, teachers often play a role that often has very little to do with what they're like as a person. And most people who connect with the public do that as a way of operating smoothly. You're very yourself this month. You don't have that mask. You're not wearing a facade. You're not putting on a front. You're very much like yourself. You've got 5 planets now on the 16th in Cancer in your first house. It's all about you. If you've been completely lost, you have no idea what you're doing with your life, if you have no idea who you are as a person, what you believe in, what you care about, the 16th is a great day to discover that. Go climb a mountain, go sit in a meadow somewhere and just sit with your own thoughts and beliefs. On the 16th of July, you will discover who you are. You can't have this much energy in your own sign without getting some sort of information come through. And it's important to know who you are, you know. You're on this planet for a reason. You're here to do something uniquely specific to you, and we need you to do that. We don't need you to, unless it's your purpose, we don't need you to sell more credit cards for a financial institution. We need you to do what's unique to you. So please do it, because you can help us. And humanity needs help. We need to get to the next level. Okay. What's next? What have I just mentioned? The new moon. Yes, I've mentioned the new moon. So where is that? Yes. The next thing that occurs is Uranus actually squares Mars from the 16th of July to the 2nd of August. So for 2 weeks, the latter half of July. And Uranus is the rebel. And again, this connects with your desire to be rebellious in terms of what it is you want to do and to be unique to that. It's very clear cut. A lot of these influences are repetitive in your chart, and it's all pushing you towards that. So get real with yourself. Venus goes into Virgo on the 19th then, and Venus is not very happy in Virgo. Venus is about love, unconditional love, loving things, having fun. Virgo is not that. Virgo is about nitpicking and looking at the details and saying this is good and this is bad and nah. So it's the nag meets the loose woman, okay, or the not the loose woman, can be the loose woman, but the irresponsible lover. Yeah, there's a sense of carefreeness, you know, and a lack of responsibility about Venus, about Aphrodite, because she doesn't care who she loves. She just goes for it, and she can sometimes not be so worried about the consequences. And Virgo is all about the consequences. That's in your third house, and you become very clipped and very crisp and very clear in how you communicate. So that almost indicates a sense of bitterness, and it's like, I can't get what I want, therefore I'm going to become unloving in the way I speak. So this is a warning for you, Cancer. It's be true to yourself if you don't want to experience a sense of disappointment and bitterness and loss. And that's a tough message, and I'm sorry to have to give you that, but for you it's really important that you show up for yourself and you be true to yourself this month. There's another T-square that's occurring here between your sense of self and your sense of work, and the way out of that is to focus on harmony for yourself and for other people. And what is it that you that's going to make you feel harmonious and that's going to give you peace of mind? Only you can decide that. Mercury goes into Leo on the 24th, and that's in your second house. So that now ignites, inspires your practical life, and I think you start to you go from all of this thinking, of all of this being in your head and trying to figure out what it is you love and what you don't love, and you just start to communicate openly and without hesitation. And I think you become really clear on what it is you love and what you do care about, and I think you throw caution a little bit to the wind now by the end of the month. There's also a grand trine that happens in water on the 25th between the moon, Chiron, and your midheaven. I'm sorry for the tutting. And I really think that this represents a happy ending. I really feel this represents you finding a solution to the problem that you've had at the beginning of July. I'm in a situation I don't like. How do I get out of it? I think you get that solution. 25th of July is the day to look out for that, because that's when things easily and effortlessly appear within your emotional being, within your life. You know, sometimes you wake up in the morning, the answer's just there. And on the 25th, you have the answer to your problems. Virgo goes into retrograde on the same day, on the 25th of July. And combined with that Virgo placement, makes it even harsher. When Virgo goes into retrograde, when Venus goes into retrograde, it's about reassessing what it is you love. Virgo is about reassessment and discernment anyway. So you become very detached and almost depersonalized in terms of what you love and what you care about. And I think you have a tendency now at the end of the month to absolutely not give a flying 2 cents about what it is you say and whose feelings you hurt. Because I really feel like July, you're almost like, okay, I'm starting to get that I'm not happy, I have to make some changes, and I'm a little bit bitter about that. Why do I have it so hard? Why do I have to make these changes? Why me? And that almost gives you a sense of entitlement to be mean to other people, because it's like, well, I've had a rough, they should have a rough as well. You know, people haven't been nice to me, therefore I can tell you you're an idiot and I don't like your face. That is not the way forward. That is not the, I mean, I don't need to tell you that's not the way to build bridges, and it's not helpful to you. And the only reason you're doing that is because Virgo is in retrograde. It's in, I keep saying that, I keep doing that. Virgo and Venus, they're so similar. Venus is in Virgo in retrograde, and it will make you think cerebrally and quite harshly and not with your heart. So continue to make an effort to be loving and not to hurt other people's feelings, and not to have that sort of sense of victim entitlement, because I've had it tough, other people need to hear hard truths as well. No. No. Okay. I just told you off there, sorry. Okay, finally, at the end of the month, we've got another full moon, and this is interesting because this is what's called a blue moon. Usually in a month you have one full moon. Once every couple of years you have two full moons in 1 month, and that's then known as a blue moon. The next one that's happening is in January 2018, so you can see it's a rare occurrence. This blue moon is in Aquarius in your 8th house. And first of all, the meaning of a blue moon, the fact that you have two in 1 month, means that that month is going to be more productive for you. Not necessarily easier, but productive. It's like the full moon is a culmination. It's things blossoming and things becoming realized. It's like a child. If you're pregnant, a full moon is giving birth. Okay, it's producing the actual thing. Two in one month makes you very productive. This second one is in Aquarius, which really indicates that you understand what your purpose is, what your message is. Remember, that's a trick. Remember that Virgo is in retrograde in Venus, other way around, and you're going to feel like you have all the answers to life. You do not have all the answers to life. It is not your job to educate people, please. If you do that, you'll come across as arrogant and overbearing, and you just need to wind it in a little bit at the end of the month. Okay? If you want to avoid friction, don't tell people exactly what you think of them. I think that's a good rule. Okay, so Cancer, that's a really interesting month for you. I mean, it's a month of two halves, really, and it's a month of real insight and real challenge and really overcoming those things to grow as a human being. If you'd like a private reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Find me on Facebook, facebook.com/Gregory Scott 444, and you can also email me. The address is readings@gregoryscott.co.uk. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. Have a wonderful July, and I'll speak to you soon.